So first of all, if there's a lot of background noise, I've got the window open because I'm going to be using oil paints and need to kind of like ventilate the space. But outside in the trees, outside my studio, there is this cacophony happening. There's a little black cat that lives local to us, which we call Dave Kitten. I don't know if that's his real name, but he's known as Dave Kitten. And he's tracking down a wood pigeon, and the crows and the magpies are all going absolutely bonkers about the whole thing. So if there's a lot of squawking and goring and chattering, then I'll have to shut the window. But there we are. It's a very good backdrop to the Holly King. So in today's live, I'm going to be embellishing this print of my painting called the Holly King. And I'm going to be using oil. So I'm starting, and I've got some titanium white oil. I'm using Prussian blue, bit of burnt umber, a little bit of cadmium yellow, and then some Windsor red. So I've set out my palette here with my colours there and a little bit of linseed oil in the pot, which I use for loosening up the colours. So I'm going to embellish items in the foreground, not the background, because the items in the background need to stay distant. So if you put too much in the background, it'll make them come forwards, which won't look right. So the embellishments will be very much in the foreground here. So probably this tree, maybe blacken some of the figures here so that they stand out just a little bit more, and touch in a bit of snow in here and embellish a few more grass pieces, and then I'll be signing it about there. So not lots because I don't want to spoil it, but just enough so that it has a hand painted feel to it. So it's not anywhere near like an original, and you can't beat the quality of an original oil painting. But some prints can be really, really lovely. And I like to embellish oil painted prints because they lend themselves to it for me, and it just lightens it, just adds that little spark that brings them to life. So I'm just going to put a little touch of black on the palette as well. Now hopefully you can hear me this time without me having to shout at the top of my voice, because I've invested in a little microphone here that plugs into the base of the phone. So it may work, it may not work, but I'm not going to know until we get going. So, choices of brushes. So I'm going to need my favourite little detail brush there. I'm going to use this one because it's got a nice point to it when it's wet, and that's good for cutting into trees and making the shapes of the trees. So I'm going to start with those two, and then I might progress to a bristle brush for some of the snow scenes further down here. So let's get going. So I like to hold my palette like this. It's comfortable because you're taking the weight on the whole of your arm rather than just your hand, and it's got a little helpful thumb hole there and a bit to grab with there, and you can angle it whichever way you work the best. So I shall try not to get in the way of showing you how I'm painting. So I'm going to stand a little bit to the side for this. So first of all, I'm going to just touch in some of these trees just a little bit, using plenty of oil so that I can blend it. I'm going to mix up a bit of grey. now the cows are starting. Just up the lane there's a farm, and it sounds like the cows are going to be joining in with the crows and the magpies. And I'm just blending it in here because this is where it starts to touch the smoke from the fire. So to paint too much of that would make the fire smoke disappear. So I'm just blending it down gently. So I'm not adding a lot of colour. I'm not adding a lot of paint really, but I'm just scrubbing it in. So it feels natural. So I need to do perhaps just a little bit here on this tree here. I've got a print that my husband bought me, and it's by an artist called Bob Barker, who I really admire. I love his work. It's all very atmospheric with lanterns and muted tones and sort of glowing lights and things. And that painting is, well, it's a print, and it's an embellished print as well. And you can actually see like the little oil marks around the lanterns where they glow. And it really does make everything stand out. It's kind of where I got like the idea from, really. So again, when I get close to the fire, I'm just scrubbing it in. Sorry about the truck going past there. Something on its way up to the farm. I love doing this. It's like all the fun of the original painting without any of the stress about where things are going to go. People think, oh, but painting is relaxing, isn't it? Well, yes, it is, but sometimes you get to this stage in a painting where you're not sure if you've made a mistake or if it's going to go right. And sometimes I've got to that stage in paintings and I've actually abandoned them like for years and not come back to it for a good while because I couldn't work out how to fix the errors. And I probably ran out of steam really trying to think about how to do it. So the canvas just sits there for years, unfinished, like an unfinished symphony. So when you're embellishing, you're literally following the existing painting, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. And now we have a playing for the added sound effects. So yeah, you're following the original image. Now I think I'm going to leave those in the background, so these trees here, and then I'm going to come down here and do a bit of foreground work. Now, because I'm right-handed, I work from left to right, so I don't get in my own way, and I work top to bottom as well. I want a little bit of browny yellowy kind of colour in there. Just a warmer and slightly lighter. So I'm just mixing this up on the palette till it looks right to me. That looks a bit better. Just makes it pop out just a little bit. I like this figure here. I like the big sort of fur ruff that he's got, and he looks like a very sort of large and intimidating figure. Like maybe he's the head or the leader or something like that. Just going to stand back a little bit and just check how we're getting on with the painting. So these figures here, I just need just a little bit darker. I'm just making a yellowy grey. That's better. I actually want that with a bit more white in it as well. So then I'm just going to scrub that in. So I'm actually going to get a blending brush, which is just a dry brush with very nice fine bristles at the end, and just scrubbing the edges. Get rid of any harsh lines. Just blend the ends of the figures into the foreground there. It's better. So it just makes them just come forwards a little bit and really pop. So next. I think I'm going to come over to this figure here. I don't want to do too much to him because there's a lot of light from the fire on this side. I quite like the way that is. So I'm going to focus mainly on enhancing the darks on this side of him. Definitely about less is more. It's a lovely sunny day today. I might go for a run at lunchtime. Get some fresh air. Just about picking up some of the darker colours. Now there's a courier here, they're probably going to knock on the window. Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'll have to angle when I've been. I'll do another recording of this, and well, I won't be able to do it now actually. And what I want to do is show you as you move around the painting. You can see the parts that have been embellished because they sort of they stand out from the canvas. I found a lovely song when I was making a reel of this painting, and it's called The Holly King, and it's by Kate Rusby. I'm going to see if I can find whether she's got an album to buy. It's a really beautiful. She's Irish, and the Celtic tones in her voice just really really work with the painting. Just the whole thing goes together really well. So I'm just going to blend. It's just really scrubbing in this blending, just to make sure that there's no harsh lines, because what I don't want is I don't want too much texture. There. And that's worked quite well. And then I'm going to work on this tree. So I think that this tree, because it's quite close to where we're watching, especially here, would be quite dark. So I could actually change to a bigger brush here, but I'm not going to. I don't know why. I think I'll just stick with this one. Like I say, it is really just sort of scrubbing in. Looks like the animals outside have calmed down now. I wonder what Dave Kitten did with that huge pigeon. I wonder whether the pigeon got away. The pigeon was as big as the cat. Never seen anything quite like it, to be honest. So I'm going to add a bit more oil, a little bit of brown, a little bit of white, and some blue. Just make myself a nice grey there. A bit more oil. So what I'm doing here is, as the tree sort of goes up into the distance a bit more, I just want to blend the details out. So I add more and more oil and less paint. Back to the blending brush. And just take out any edges that are too harsh. My trusty t-shirt here at the back. It's a vest that I wasn't wearing anymore. I've got some marks on it. Most folk would probably take it to the tip, but I like to recycle as much as I possibly can, and it makes a fantastic thing to wipe your brushes on, because it's got the straps which hook over the hook over the easel. There, so just blending in a bit there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is put in just a little bit of snow. So for that, I am going to change to a different brush, and I'm also going to lift the canvas up a little bit and try and wedge it there. This may or may not work. Hopefully that will be stable enough. Yes, that feels okay. Just don't press too hard there. So let's just move the owls out of the way. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of detail at the bottom there, and I'm mixing up some oil, linseed oil, some blue, a little bit of brown to take away the blue, harsh blue. And I want like a grey, and then just scrub in. That needs a little bit more white. That does. Ah, that's better. Needed more brown, less blue. So it goes bluer there behind where there's less heat. Then magpies are off again. I'm going to tap in with some white snow. So I'm using the end of the brush, dipping it into pretty much pure white paint, and then just scrubbing it in at the bottom to make it look like it's just settled on the tops of foliage. There we go. And that is that. Yeah, I think that's it. So this is the embellished print that you can win for the Winter Solstice giveaway competition. So if you'd like to enter, then if you're already a subscriber, you'll be entered automatically. But if you'd like to win, you'd need to join my Magic Circle newsletter. And that's at www.claire, with an I and an E, clairevalentineart/magic circle. Sorry, clairevalentineart.com/magic circle. And you'll be entered in to win this beautiful painting. So that's all for now. Thanks for joining, and see you soon. Bye.